We're live. So okay. I'm here with Nick and Alison, and for those who don't know, Nick recently joined us, retired for a little while from being a legal exec with a local Bradford-on-Avon solicitors practice after 39 years, which is nearly 4 life sentences. You get less for murder. But anyway, he came to work with us on administration, viewings and so on recently. But one of the things that Nick mentioned was about presentation of properties, and that's a really interesting point, because how you present your property when you look into market is really quite fundamental. It's really crucial. First impressions count, and I think that Nick and Alison are looking to move at some stage. So we've come here today, and Natalie's hiding over in the corner there. I'll make mention because she doesn't want to be on film, but we have got her on film without her knowing. So we'll put that up later so you can see who she is. But anyway, Alison and Nick have got their house really, really nicely presented internally, externally. But we really wanted to focus today on immediate impressions, street scene. The first thing that you see when you arrive at a property can often either make or break whether it's going to be of interest to you. And it's all about trying to get people in through your front door. So when anyone sees either the video tour, which is fairly standard these days, or whether you're looking at photos, what you see in that will either be a positive in terms of coming to view the property, or a negative. You know, even down to, you know, is the front garden neat and tidy, no weeds, nice flowers, the lawn's mowed, the front door's clean, the garage door's clean, they're painted, and it presents well. Because you know, in my own experience, when I arrive at property to value it normally, but what I see from the outside, from the street scene, is generally, I would say in most cases, fairly indicative of what it's going to be like on the inside of the house. So if it's all overgrown, if it's untidy, rubbish in the garden, generally that tends to be fairly indicative of what the house is going to be like inside, which might sound a bit unfair, but it tends to, they tend to go hand in hand. So I just wanted to, you know, we've done a little bit of filming around the garden. Sadly, someone started with a pneumatic drill somewhere over in the distance, so that's why we're not in the garden and we're sitting in here. But what I wanted to do was, and this is really off the hip, shooting from the hip this, because Nick and Alison haven't really got a clue what I'm going to ask them, so they're going to just have to think about the answers. So
where we should look, whether
well, you can look wherever you want to look. You can look at Natalie hiding if you want. But really, as sellers and as potential buyers, what I wanted to ask you is, what's important to you, you know, from the outset of the sort of property you're looking for, what your expectations are in terms of that property, what would inspire you to buy a particular property, and what would put you off, and how important is presentation when you first look at a property on one of the portals like Rightmove, on the market, or Booming, and also in regards to the photos. Will that, you know, will bad photography, a badly presented house put you off from viewing a property?
Yeah, I have found that some of the photos are a bit misleading. With some agents use these wide-angled lenses, and you get to the house thinking it's going to be a huge back garden, and find that it's not, which is disappointing, because they should be honest in that respect. But,
I agree with that.
And also, it's very important presentation, because we went round decluttering the house before viewings, didn't we? We took,
taking a lot of,
you know, like it just looks so much better, and it's important to the buyers to see it as decluttered as possible, I suppose. But
too much work on the house would probably put us off, wouldn't it? If we had to do too much.
You wouldn't want to have to go in and do all those things at our age now, really, like to buy somewhere that's together.
Putting a new kitchen in or a new bathroom wouldn't put us off.
No.
If the whole house needed
But if the garden, even if the garden was unkempt, you can see through it, but it certainly helps to have it presentable. There's no excuse for not cutting the grass and things like that.
Yeah, no, I agree
People
with that.
come round on viewings. Is there?
Yeah, and I think I think you've raised some important points. Really, I think a lot of agents do use wide-angle lenses, and I hear this really often on viewings, almost on every viewing. Someone will say, we went to see a property the other day, the driveway looked like it would take 4 cars and you could barely get one on. Or the lounge looked enormous, but actually when we got inside it was really small. And that, I think, is a real negative, because if you arrive to do a viewing and actually what you perceived was going to be really big ends up being really small, it's almost a downer before you even start. And I find, we don't use wide-angle lens, on photography. We've got our own professional photographer who works for us, David. He's absolutely excellent. And I would say on 99% of occasions when I do viewings, viewers will say it's bigger than it looks in the photos, and I would say, well, I'd rather it that way than the other way, because if it looks bigger, that's a positive, not a negative. And I think something you said, Alison, about minimalism, I think is really, really important. Over-cluttered houses create really small rooms. And I've been on take-ons at properties where I've actually helped the owners put toys and things like that into the boot of the car and stuff like that. Really, because the photography is so important.
If you've got bookcases full of books and CDs and videos and whatnot, then it does look completely cluttered.
It does. And I think there's something quite therapeutic about tidying out your house, isn't there?
Definitely.
But it's a waste of time really going to a property where you've got high expectations because of the photos, misleading photos. Because it's just wasting everybody's time. Because you're going to get there with a negative attitude, going to be disappointed.
Absolutely.
As you say.
I agree with that completely.
It's just a bit of a con to get people to run in a way, isn't it?
It is.
But it seems to be quite commonplace with most agents, obviously not Paxton's, but
good to hear.
Their photos are more realistic.
But if there's not so much in the way, you can imagine your things.
You can. You can. You can visualise it.
You can see whether your furniture would fit.
I agree with that completely. I mean, obviously, from your house point of view, I've only seen here the hall and the garden, so I've not seen anything besides a sneak view of the kitchen through the door, But it's presented beautifully. It's really nicely done, inside and out, isn't it? It's really. I was trying to get Natalie to say something.
Well, upstairs, the views across the fields are terrific. You can see for miles up there.
And that's lovely.
The plus point from the bedrooms, you can see.
It is. So, I think, for you as a homeowner, and potentially a home seller at some stage, presentation is really important to you. And, I'm guessing you always keep it like this. You haven't just done it from a selling point of view.
It should be important for everyone, really, shouldn't it?
It should be.
I think, because it's going to make a huge difference.
Yeah, it is. And I tend to, this is personal. When I value property, I tend to look at it not through the eye of an estate agent, but through the eye of a viewer.
Yeah, potential buyer.
And I'll walk, what I see, when I pull up outside the house, the presentation, when I stand on the mat, because normally you can see the door would be open here, but I stand on the mat, and the first thing I see, I look through and I think, that's lovely. That looks really nice. But some properties, you immediately stand on that mat and you look in and you think,
oh dear,
here we go.
What's ahead?
But it's refreshing when you come into a house like this that's really, really nicely presented, and the garden and everything else. So, when it comes to you selling, which one day you will,
I think so. That's right. It's all a matter of finding something better, really, and if we can't find something better, then we'll stay here.
You don't have to move, do you? It's a choice rather than necessity, isn't it, really, at the end of the day?
That's right.
So there we go. I think that was all interesting. This is Nick and Alison were a bit of a guinea pig this morning. We're guinea pigs, actually, plural, in the nicest possible way. So this was a bit of trial. So anyway, we'll see how this plays out. But just thank you very much for letting us come to you this morning.
It's our pleasure.
Yeah. And the pneumatic drill stopped now. So,
Yeah, it has, hasn't it? Yeah.
so we've stopped and it has.
Yeah.